Level 4 is going to be pretty similar to level 3 except multi-step problems, so they're going to just be a little bit more involved. In this first example, you've got different options. You can simplify the inside first, right here, or you could raise everything to the second power and then simplify. I think I'm going to simplify the inside first this time. And so, to simplify the inside, anything with a negative exponent needs to move first. So this, and this all need to move. I can also simplify 35 over 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5 over 1, or just 5 on the top. X to the 11th, or x to the negative 11 moves to the top and becomes x to the positive 11. X to the negative 4 moves down and becomes x to the 4th. Y to the negative 5 moves down and becomes y to the 5th, and then the other y to the negative 5 moves up and becomes y to the 5th. Anything over itself cancels out, so y to the 5th over y to the 5th cancels, and we just can simplify the x's. So x to the 11th over x to the 4th, subtract the exponents, and we get 5x to the 7th, which is then raised to the second power. Now I can simplify the inside of this second part also. 1/5 times x to the negative 3, I can move that x to the negative 3 down, and this is 1 over x to, or 5x to the positive 3. Now back to my first part, everything needs to be raised to the second power. 5 to the second power is 25. I multiply my exponents when I raise a power to another power, so I get x to the 14th. And then this is multiplied by 1 over 5x to the 3rd. This first part is like over 1, so I do the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. And I get 25x to the 14th over 5x to the 3rd. Now I can simplify a little more. 25 over 5 is 5 over 1, or just 5 on the top. And then I subtract my exponents for the x's. 14 minus 3 is 11, so I get 5x to the 11th. In this next example, the first thing I'm going to do is raise everything inside here to the second power and simplify that part. Negative 6, remember it's in parentheses, to the positive second power is going to be positive 36. And then multiply the exponents, we get x to the negative 8, negative 4 times 2, and then y to the second power. On the bottom, I'm just going to copy the 3, or x to the 3rd, y to the negative 7. I will just copy the second part too, x squared y to the negative 9 over 4y. Now I'm going to move everything that has a negative exponent. Remember, anything with a negative exponent is in the wrong place. So x to the negative 8 needs to move down, y to the negative 7 needs to move up, y to the negative 9 needs to move down. And I get 36y squared on the top of this first part. On the bottom, we already had x to the 3rd, and I move that x to the negative 8th down, and it becomes x to the positive 8. And then I move y to the negative 7 up, and it becomes y to the positive 7. For the next part, I just have to move y to the negative 9 down, and we get y to the positive 9 in the bottom. Now I can simplify this first fraction. I can multiply y squared times y to the 7th, and I get 36y to the 9th if I add the exponents. And then x to the 3rd times x to the 8th, again add the exponents, we get x to the 11th. And then in the next one, I can multiply y times y to the ninth. Remember, this is like y to the first power. Add the exponents, and we get 4y to the 10th in the bottom. Now, each fraction is totally simplified. I can multiply the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom, or basically think of this as one big fraction. So I get 30, here we'll come up here, 36y to the ninth x squared on the top. On the bottom we have, I'm just going to put the 4 in the front, x to the 11th, y to the 10th. And now I simplify. I can simplify 36 over 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9 over 1, or 9 on the top. For my x's, I subtract my exponents, and I get x to the ninth on the bottom. And for the y's, I subtract the exponents, and I just get y to the first power on the bottom, which is just y. And that's my answer, but I'm going to move my 9 over. So it would be 9 over x to the ninth y.